Let's go, girls.
Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe.
Let's go. It is Women Talking Football, WTF. Not to be confused with WFT. My name is Ashley Pickle. I am the executive producer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Sitting over there, running the show as I try to get this logo pulled up here. Boom. There we are. It is our associate producer, Miss Mallory Hartley. I know it's the normal TFT spot, but we're doing WTF today because why not?
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, including some hoops. Some hoops.
Hoops. It is hoops season, and so
we can't escape it.
No,
we cannot escape hoops.
It's here, March Madness. I did have a buddy text me yesterday and was like, hey, there's some of us going to North Texas is playing, they're hosting their initial NIT game tonight in Denton, and I've got some other different stuff I need to be taking care of anyway, but they were like, do you want to go? And I was like, one, I do have other stuff that I need to get done tonight. Two, I need just like a 3-day break of
so much
not
basketball.
being at a basketball game in person. And he was like, I forget you've been to like 5,000 basketball games within like the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, I love basketball, but I'm about to transition into having it on my TV all the time.
Yeah.
Like just
5 screens at once.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Constantly throughout the day. So I was like, hey, this is a 3-day span that I need to like clear my mind of it. So that way when the tournament games really get started on Thursday, I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm pumped.
I feel like
it's best time of the year.
I feel like it just consumes everybody here too, because we've got 4 screens.
Yes.
To where the whole editorial team can see them. Everybody's talking about it.
Uh-huh.
You got 4 different games up at once. I
Yep.
mean, you're just consumed by it.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And I love every single second of it. But that does mean that, like, I need to stop at some point and get, like, normal life stuff done. And we're about to go on a trip, so I need to pack and I need to, you know, get my cat stuff secured and, like, all of that. I was like, no, I need to take tonight to be a human before I'm glued to the TV screen until April 2nd.
Exactly.
You know, or April 3rd. So, anyway, that all being said, let's talk a lot of hoops today. We're going to start off by going through the March Madness women's bracket, and then in the back half of the show, we will be joined by Jessica Armstrong. So if you're not familiar with who that is, she works at Bally Sports Southwest as the producer of Mavs Insider. So we figured we're talking hoops, we might as well keep that train going. I believe Jessica is the only female producer at Bally Sports Southwest, so we're incredibly excited to talk to her. But not only does she do all of that, she handles being a mom of 3 very young kids. She's married to Anthony Armstrong. You might recognize him. He played for when they were still the Washington Redskins back in the day. Had a good NFL career there. So she's been in the world of sports forever, and I know all the boys really want to play sports. And then she's also a personal trainer with Camp Gladiator. So there is a ton to unpack there with Jessica Armstrong. We're incredibly excited to have her on. But we will get started with talking a little bit of women's March Madness. If you're not familiar with it, the women do the exact same thing as the men do. There's the 62 team bracket. They are out. There's the bracket. It looks the exact same. You go through, you pick them, you fill them out, and then the women's Final Four will be the same weekend as the men's Final Four this year. So it'll follow the exact same path of days, and
which you will be at.
I will be at. Yeah, I'll be emceeing the women's Final Four up here in Dallas, so I'm incredibly excited about that. So that's why I got to start studying up on my women's bracket as well to see who we think. So
yeah, I was thinking about this when I was filling out my bracket. I was looking at my Final Four and I was like, wow, like you're gonna get to see
that. Oh, I know,
teams, which is really stinking cool because there is some insane talent.
Yeah,
right
insane talent, and there's some really unbelievable coaching talent that I could have the possibility to see. Like if South Carolina takes care of business like South Carolina should and definitely makes it to the Final Four, like seeing Dawn Stanley coach in person will be like unbelievable. Like if LSU figures out a way to make it through that tough region out there in the Greenville.
No, Region 2.
Region 2. Yeah. If they find a way to make it out of that, like seeing Kim Mulkey coach in person, which is something that I
That
haven't
would
seen,
be
even in
really
their time
cool.
at Baylor, I haven't seen that.
Right.
So there are some like big time names that would be really, really cool to see. So who do you have in your Final Four?
Okay. And if you don't know already, we broke down the men's bracket on TFT with Greg Powers on Monday. So if you want to hear about the men's bracket, we've already done that. So now it's time for the women's bracket. In my Final Four, coming out of Region 1, it's kind of a no-brainer, South Carolina.
Yeah, that seems right.
They're undefeated. They're on the hunt for their second straight title in a row, so wouldn't be surprised to see them coming out of Region 1. Out of Region 2, this one to me was a little tough. I ultimately went with Indiana just because they're the regular season Big Ten champions. They didn't win the Big Ten tournament, but they are super strong, super deep. I can definitely see them making it all the way to the Final Four. They got to get past a couple of really tough teams, like you said, LSU and Villanova, but I really think that they are the favorites to come out of Region 2. Out of Region 3, this one was really tough for me. I didn't go with what most people I think are going to go with. In Virginia Tech, I picked UConn to come out of Region 2, mainly just based on experience, just because they are such a tough team. They are a 2 seed too. I think that you could pretty much go either way with Virginia Tech or UConn, but I ultimately went with UConn coming out of Region 3. And then out of Region 4, this is a gauntlet of a region. This has to be probably the toughest region, I would say, from top to bottom. I picked Iowa.
Yep.
I picked Iowa coming out of that. But, I mean, man, you could go with Duke, you could go with Stanford, you could go with Texas, and I wouldn't be surprised. But so altogether, I picked South Carolina out of Region 1, Region 2, Indiana, Region 3, UConn, and then Region 4, Iowa. So that's my Final Four. I want to hear your Final Four before we go into championship. Yeah.
So I agree. I think 32-0 speaks to the level of competition
and the
that
coaching
South Carolina brings. I think they have Elijah Boston, who's the best player, hands down, in college basketball right now. Now, maybe I would say the best overall player. I think there's a better shooter. We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
But yes, out of Region 1, South Carolina is the pick. I think that they are just that level of talent that it will be nearly impossible for someone to trip them up. Like, that would have to be one of, I don't know if I'm willing to say out of all sports, but that would be like an actual catastrophic upset. It's more so than usual.
To beat South Carolina?
Yeah. Anytime UConn women's basketball loses, it's like a catastrophic upset.
Right.
But like this one would be next level shocking if they did not make it out of Region 1. Out of Region 2, I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path here. I'm going to go with LSU.
Okay, good pick.
I know that's not anywhere close to being the favorite out of that region. Like we said, I think Indiana is a clear-cut favorite there. I like someone like Villanova, to
I
be
was
honest
just about
with
to
you.
say that.
Like, I know they're the 4 seed, but I do like that. I think that Utah is very dangerous out of that region, but I have faith in Kim Mulkey being able, like, especially in deep runs. She's been here before. I think that sophomore guard Angel Reese has been unbelievable this year. So I'll be interested to see, with their best player being a sophomore and not having that much of experience like that in a deep playoff run, it'll be interesting to see. But I trust Kim Mulkey when it comes to getting someone to the Final Four. So I'm going to go LSU out of Region 2. Out of Region 3, I'm going with Virginia Tech.
Yep.
I think that
good one.
I completely understand. I went back and forth between them and UConn because it's just impossible not to pick UConn to go. I love this Virginia Tech team. I think that they're unbelievably talented. Maddie Siegrist has been outstanding down low. I think that she provides a real post presence that a lot of teams don't have. I think Elizabeth Kitley has been fantastic. I think that Virginia Tech has a really, really deep roster that will show out. So I'm going to go with Virginia Tech, and then I am going to agree with you in Region 4 and go with Iowa. That's more of a me wanting to see Caitlin Clark make it to the Final Four. Yeah. I want that matchup, and kind of moving even further into that, the idea of seeing Caitlin Clark take on South Carolina.
That's exactly why. That's why
I'm speaking it into existence. I want it to happen. I think that would be the best thing ever. Like that to me,
I think so too.
Would be going even further than that, like I put in the semifinals, I have South Carolina winning that one, and I have Virginia Tech beating LSU.
Yeah. Okay.
I have South Carolina as my champion.
Yeah.
But as good as a game as South Carolina Virginia Tech would be in a national championship, like one from just two full-on team perspectives, that would be unbelievable. But just seeing Caitlin Clark go up against South Carolina is something that I desperately need in my life.
Yeah, and they haven't played this year, Iowa and
No.
South Carolina, so I think that would to me be a national championship.
I just want to speak it into
game,
existence.
You know, I'm with you there on the South Carolina pick. I picked them to come out of the left side of the bracket, and then I picked Indiana to beat UConn. So kind of in the same aspect as you. I've got a 1 taking on a 1 in the national championship, and then like you, I picked South Carolina as my champion. I just think they're too deep and they're just too good to overlook. So I picked them as well. Who was a hard matchup coming out of the first round that you kind of had to double look or double think about, you know? I'll give you one of mine.
Okay.
And it's kind of an upset. I picked a 12 over a 5. I picked Florida Gulf Coast over Washington State. They're on like a 14-15 game win streak right now.
I like that.
I think that, and all the experts tell you that there's at least bound to be 1-12-5 upset.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that one was probably the most likely. So that's kind of my upset pick in the first round. We can kind of go with that if you've got an upset pick.
Yeah, well,
in the
another
first round.
12-5 that I do like is I like Toledo and Iowa State.
Yeah,
I think
Iowa
that
State
there
is
is.
very
I like that
vulnerable.
Toledo squad a lot. And then obviously the difference between Toledo's conference games and Iowa State's conference games is huge, but I don't think that the Big 12 is near as deep this year in women's basketball as it has been in the past. So typically anytime you see a Big 12 program come out, it's like, oh yeah, they should absolutely be able to do that. But if I had to choose one upset pick that I like, I think out of there in that region 3, Toledo and Iowa State would be one, which would make it even that much of a lighter path for Virginia Tech to be able to make it through if that ended up happening.
Right.
I mean, heck, even if you want to go one above that, the 8 and 9, not that that's really an upset, but I think South Dakota State.
I picked South Dakota State too.
USC.
Yeah, I do too. I picked them as well.
South Dakota State's a really, really, really good team.
They are.
There's a lot of people out there saying, hey, keep an eye on that.
I think USC's kind of injured right now too, so
Yeah.
I think that could be an upset watch.
I don't
as
know
well,
much
sort
about
of.
Illinois or Mississippi State or if they've even played that game as a look-in game, but Creighton was the one that made like the surprisingly
Cinderella run
big
last year.
Cinderella run, and I kind of wonder if that's one of those things that they're going, oh, okay, now we're seated really well, you know, this should be a breeze, and they overlook it just a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's more of a mental game than I think Creighton was a better team than either of those two teams. I don't really know much about them, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Creighton had the Cinderella run last year and then kind of spit the bit.
I have Creighton playing, I'm sure you do too, Notre Dame in the round of 32.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a really, really good early
Yeah.
matchup too. I think a big test for Creighton as well early on in the tournament. So, yeah.
So there you go. We both think that that South Carolina is gonna take home the championship, but we are speaking it into existence. I need South Carolina versus Caitlin Clark in the Final Four. I need that in my life.
That would be so good.
It would be so
That would
stinking
be.
good.
I was gonna say
Friday
we'd have to
night
have a
in
watching
Dallas,
party,
Texas.
but yeah, you be there
I was
actually.
saying, you can come.
Well,
to
let
the
me know.
actual
I would
party.
love to come. That would be super
Like,
fun.
I will be at the party.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see that matchup in person would be unbelievable. So
Yeah, I agree with
women's
that.
Final Four tickets. There's so much other stuff that they're doing around the Final Four too, that if you're anywhere in the DFW area, come on out, because there's a ton of stuff
Yeah.
going on like throughout the days. Thursday, I think it even starts all the way up to like Wednesday. But the two semifinal games will be Friday night at 6 and 8:30. The D2 and D3 national championships will be 11 and 2:30 on Saturday, and then the actual national championship itself will be 2:30 on Sunday. So
Okay.
and I honestly think I couldn't imagine the ticket prices being that it's at the AAC for like a D3 national championship being outrageous. Like if you've got little girls at home that really are enjoying playing basketball right now, or you're an AAU coach and you want to bring a team out there, like, you want to talk about because this is the first time they're hosting D2 and D3 national championships in the Final Four weekend, at the same location.
Right.
So if you've got any little girls that are looking to get out in the DFW area or anywhere around here, around Texas, come on out to that. It should be a good time. And there's tons of other stuff to do in and around the AAC that they're putting on concert performances like at night and tons of stuff.
That's really cool that they're blowing that up.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for that. So it'll be a weekend full of good basketball. But yeah, fill out your women's brackets. You've got until tomorrow. No, yeah, tomorrow for all brackets.
Yeah, because
today's Wednesday.
Yeah, because yesterday, I think, so the men had a couple of play-in games last night, which, by the way, Mississippi State and I'm blanking on who they played. Pitt was a fantastic game.
Really?
It was a men's play-in game.
Call? I think Ted might have been on the call for that one.
I don't
he was
remember.
on the call for something.
But it was such a good game, and I was like, man, I am so ready for March Madness. Like, it's going to be so much fun. But I just realized too, I picked Alabama to win in my men's bracket and South Carolina to win in my women's. It's an all SEC type bracket here, which I'm not a fan of, but
Oh yeah, him and John Crispin were on the call on Westwood 1. They had the
cool.
had the Texas A&M Corpus Christi game, and then Pittsburgh and Mississippi State.
Which, by the way, move on. I'm scatterbrained right now. Do you know who plays for Texas A&M Corpus Christi?
No.
Jalen Jackson, former UNT Mean Green.
No kidding.
Yeah, so he'll be playing in the tournament, which is really cool.
He always wore a little sweatband.
Yeah, they'll be playing Alabama in the first round, so I thought that was pretty cool. Tough.
Yeah, that Alabama men's team is
very good.
Really good. I've watched many of their games, and they are scary. So anyway, women talking hoops. All right, we're fixing to bring on Jessica Armstrong onto the program, but before then, let's hear from our friends at VCR Now. Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texans love doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Appreciate our friends at VCR Now. All right, Mal, let's go over to the hotline as we welcome in Bally Sports Southwest producer, personal trainer, superwoman, mom of 3, wears 17 hats. We bring in Miss Jessica Armstrong. Jess, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you guys doing? Thank you for the introduction. That is pretty accurate.
So, obviously, I gave a very light teaser there of the 8 million different hats that you wear. But for anyone listening that doesn't necessarily know you or isn't familiar with your work, give us kind of an elevator pitch about who you are and how you got to be where you're at now.
Oh, my gosh. Elevator pitch. Well, it's hard. So I started in TV production, municipal access when I was like 17 and kind of worked my way through the college video board side of things, got with the then Redskins, and then made my way to Dallas, and then got in with Fox Sports then, and Bally Sports, and then I always had an interest in personal training. So when I moved here, I didn't have a job, so I got certified. And so then when I got things rolling with Fox Sports Southwest, I somehow figured out a way to do both, and now here we are, personal trainer, now Bally Sports Southwest, nutrition coach, now mom of 3, and I think that's it.
I'm exhausted just even listening to that. So we'll focus on, let's talk about the kiddos for a second before we get into all of the different work things that you do. You just listed all of those different things that you do, and you've got 3 little ones. And when I say little, I mean like little ones. What is it like to balance all of that? How do you do it?
Well, I will say, so I have 3 boys, 5. Apollo's 5, he will be 6. Theo's 3, will be 4, and Arrow is 15 months. So, yeah, it's challenging. Well, the more you add, the more challenging it gets. But it's funny. Like we've always just been, my husband and I have always been just our personality is like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, whatever it is, whatever punch you throw, whatever you got, we'll figure it out. And it's kind of like with the kids, it's like, okay, well, we have this addition. I will say Arrow was the most challenging adjustment, the third, because of his the timing. The other 2 came, I strategically planned, not really, but luckily it worked out that like the first time the Mavs didn't make the playoffs in 16 years was the year Apollo was born. And then they didn't make the playoffs again when Theo was born. So not good for the Mavs, but it was good to have a little break from the Mavs Insider Show. But I did produce through Arrow's birth.
Wow.
Goodness.
I produced because I'm freelance, so I had the show pretty much planned out. So I didn't go in, but I remote produced through my whole maternity leave.
Goodness gracious. I can't even imagine. So I know the kiddos, you said they're very young still, but
Yes.
Are they into sports? Have they seen dad's tape in the NFL a little bit? Are they wanting to play sports? What's kind of the story there?
Yeah, so at this point, he calls football daddy ball, and he calls basketball Luca ball. So,
I love that.
I mean, Anthony didn't have quite the impact on the NFL maybe that Luca's having on the NBA, but I certainly love daddy ball. He's actually set to start his first flag football and then he's also playing basketball, and he's a little more shy, so he's just a little more shy. So it's a little harder for him to open up, which is kind of hard for me and Anthony, my husband, because we don't really have a shy bone in our body. So I can't really relate to him. So I'm trying really hard to be like, just go, just do it. Like, just go. And so soccer was tough at 3 for both of them. But I think as they get older, to start soccer, it doesn't make and they're May babies, so the groups they played with were all older. So, and 6 months makes a big difference at this age to be like 4 or 3.5 versus younger than that.
Well, and maybe the idea of playing daddy ball will really get them juiced up to go out there and rip off those flags. But want to matriculate over now to your work that you do at Bally Sports Southwest, and obviously with the Mavs Insider Show for anyone that doesn't know. But I believe, unless something has changed very, very recently, that you are one of the, if not the only female producer there at Bally Sports Southwest. What is it like to kind of wear that cap and wave the flag from a producer standpoint?
Well, I think actually it is currently still the way it stands. It's cool. I don't really, I've always kind of worked with the guys and stuff. I will say coming from, so this kind of goes a different way. So I came from the Washington Redskins, which it's no secret the work environment was not the best. Which is not the best. And so I learned a lot of tough love. I learned what you're not supposed to do, what you're supposed to do. And I have definitely have the utmost respect for the leadership at Bally's and was Fox and Bally's now. And so they are super encouraging of roles and of motherhood, and we all get, they get that I'm the mom. So there is a different, mom hat is different than dad hat. It's just how it is. But they get it. And I also am not super shy about I breastfed my kids, and so I needed a pump room, and I was I don't really need a room because edit bays at Bally, so it worked. And I was if you just give me some sort of board that will block the glass window, I'm fine. You couldn't really get in anyway,
Right.
And I was and I'm gonna sit back far enough so you can't open the door. And no one's gonna come barging in anyway. But I had my little black board for all 3 kids. They had my pump bay, and it was
awesome.
kind of a joke, and be Jess, it smells like milk in here. I'm guys, whatever. And I'd be I just throw it back, and I'm well, I'm making life right now. What are you doing? I made a pancreas today. Did you do anything today? So no, that's so that definitely it's definitely we have different needs and things, but
Right.
I will say they've been supportive through it all.
That's awesome.
Well, and kind of going off of that just a little bit, for any of the women that are wanting to get into the sports world, whether that being on air or like you being a producer, what advice can you give women in order to, get started or just kind of to how to navigate this crazy world that we're in?
I think it all boils down. One, talent does matter. You have to be good at what you do and have to know, being willing to adapt, take criticism, all of those just like like those things. I feel like that's the obvious things, but I think relationships are super, super important. I don't think. I'm just saying everything comes back to relationships. Like you want to work with people you like. There's people that I've been around with at Bally's now I've been they're here for 10 years and doing Mavs Insider for 9. But I used to work on all different shows. Like I used to work on high school football. I used to work through different things. And I think just the relationships. I mean, when I moved down here, I was just like, found people with my title from the Redskins. Like I was senior video producer. So I said, who is a senior video producer? And I Googled it and searched on LinkedIn for anybody who had that title. And I just was like, hey, can I have an informational meeting? Like I never asked for a job. I never asked for anything. I just said, hey, I'm new to the area. I'm looking to make connections. I went to networking groups, which was by far the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my entire life. Because you have a lot of imposter syndrome. And like, am I really good at this? Like, was I just like, made it good, got lucky. But, after time, you have to start making relationships and then obviously believing in yourself. You have to be your own biggest fan.
So that's the work with Bally, and then also you mentioned a nutrition coach, a personal trainer with Camp Gladiator. Talk a little bit about that. How I know that fitness is incredibly important to you. How have you been able to keep that up and going, and how much joy does that give you to see helping other people do that as well?
That's pretty much, you nailed it on the head. I think that was one of our first things we did together, right? We covered it was like a Camp Gladiator workout at the Mavs.
It was.
At the AC, and you were the intern. Yeah, wow, like that was a long time ago.
It was.
And you crushed it, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, that was. So I got in with Camp Gladiator, and I just knew, like, I can't train one-on-one. I don't have the time. But if I block out the time, 2 hours, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my 5:15, 9:15 classes. Outdoor, and then I do virtual now Monday, Wednesday, thanks to COVID. It's just so cool I've never needed someone to motivate me to work out. I've always been very self-motivated. I guess that's why I have so many jobs. But I just had, I would feel so good after I worked out. I always say you're one meal away from being back on track and you're one workout away from a good mood. So if I can share, hey, you don't have to do camp, you don't have to do whatever, but if you exercise, you go for a walk, you do something you like, you're gonna feel better. And if I can help keep someone accountable and they can play with their kids longer, they can do run a marathon or do whatever their goal is, that's so just so incredibly rewarding and just so fun to see people get past themselves. I always tell people you have to know, you're worth your goal. So people won't think that they deserve whatever they want. Oh, that's not me. I can't do that. And it's really fun to be the one to be like, yeah, you can. And this is how you do it. Give you a roadmap.
You're worth your goal. I really like that. And then finally, we're talking to Jessica Armstrong, Superwoman up here in the DFW area. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about something really cool that you just are doing now. And I believe I'm saying it right. It's the I Am affirmation deck of cards.
That's it.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is the most random, so when we're going to get real. You want me to get real?
Please do.
I really wanted a girl. I really wanted a girl when I was pregnant with my third, and we didn't find out until pretty late in the pregnancy. I was probably 30 some weeks pregnant. And so my doctor was like, you need to be happy on the day the baby comes, regardless of the gender. So you need to find out, because I don't want you to be shell shocked. Because I was convinced. You couldn't have told me it wasn't a boy. It was the sky is green. I didn't believe you, right? So so I started getting into affirmations. I have a tattoo on my arm that says it's a mindset, and the I Am is an acronym on that too. And I couldn't unmindset myself. It's couldn't get past the fact that I really wanted a girl. I went to therapy, which I highly encourage people to talk to somebody if they need to, and just find out you can feel more than one thing. Because I was I don't want to be a jerk. I have 3 healthy kids, but I'm still like, but you can be happy and sad. You can be guilty and happy. You know, you can be multiple emotions at once. And so I got really into I am affirmations initially. Like I've always kind of had them, would talk myself up on the way to camps even, and try to manifest what I wanted for my life. And then, you know, I was in flows of life and stuff. And then I kind of was like, I wish I could see something every single day. And I'm super practical. So it's like, well, it can't just be a card. So I needed to make it a playing card because I love playing spades, and I wanted to make one big or little, but I couldn't. I didn't. It was going to be extra, so I was like, let me just keep it as it is. But anyway, yeah. So I made these I am affirmation decks. There's 52 weeks in the year, and 52 cards in the deck, 54 with the jokers, and there's different one for each week to focus on. And then ideally, like in a dream world, I would have like an app that's connected to it, where like it basically prompts you to be like a mindfulness app where you can. Like one of the words, like I am thriving, and it's like in what parts of your life are you thriving, in work or in your family life, in your marriage, or whatever part of your life you want to focus on that particular goal. And it's kind of a way to be accountable to yourself.
That is really cool. We're showing the pictures here that you had sent me with them. Where can people get those?
So my link tree has everything, and it's like the link tree tr.ee, and then it's /make time for fit, and that's my Instagram for all my fitness stuff. I don't really share a lot of my Bally stuff, like because I don't know. I produce everything, so it's like weird to be like. I guess I could share to be like, hey, I produced this. But
Yes.
on it. So anyway, you can watch Bally all my Bally stuff on Bally Sports Southwest an hour before every Mavs game, and then it's all on our social channels as well.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, there you go. So yeah, make time for fit. If you are interested in getting those I am affirmations cards, you can do that there. Jess, really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. I don't know how you do it, but you're an inspiration to us all. So thanks again for taking the time, and enjoy spring break.
I appreciate you guys having me in Newtown. And I will say it's only possible because Anthony my husband is very supportive and has a very flexible schedule. So it is definitely a team.
That is awesome. Well, tell him we said hello, and we'll be catching up with you soon.
I will. Tell Tep I said hello too, and we have to do lunch soon.
We might. Do you really want to have lunch with Tepper? Does anyone really?
We've been trying since January, so you can see how much effort we've really put into it.
Well, I will. He's in Mexico right now, but I will get on him as soon as he gets back.
That's why. Okay.
Perfect. All right,
Awesome.
Jess, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
There she goes, Jessica Armstrong, Bally Sports Southwest producer, trainer at Camp Gladiator, nutrition coach, mom of 3. I mean, unbelievable. Those I am affirmation cards are really, really cool. So she said you can go
a deck of them. Yeah.
Yeah, Linktree, make time for fit. If you're looking for a way to remind yourself just once a week. Of some positive affirmations and some positivity, there you can go. I love, man, that quote that she said, "You are worth your goal."
Yes,
that's
I did
awesome.
Too. Yeah, that's really awesome because I feel like even I feel like I struggle sometimes with like the imposter syndrome just a little bit, and you know, that reminds me to, you know, you're where you are for a reason, you know, and you just kind of have to believe that and make yourself believe that, or you're going to keep feeling that way. So it's a great thing to keep in the back of your head.
Yeah, and I think that obviously this show is called Women Talking Football, so we talk a lot about the struggles that we go through. We hear a lot of those negative comments of, you shouldn't be doing this, like you should not be there, or, oh, you only got there because you're a pretty girl. I can't tell you the amount of times that I heard that being on the desk at Bally, and it wasn't from anyone at Bally, let me be very clear, or anyone here, but it's all the people that watch on social media, or the YouTube comments, or the this, or the, oh, well, it's just another blonde, you know, and it's like, you have to remind yourself, no, I got here because I can talk on 1,400 different Texas high school football programs, you know? And yeah, you and I go through that a lot, but I think that everyone goes through that at some point in their life, man, woman, you know, anybody. So you are worth your goal. If there's anything that you've ever taken off of this show, I hope that anyone watching can really take that and go, okay, that's a hell of a quote from Jessica Armstrong.
Yes,
so
I agree.
Really appreciate her coming on. We will definitely cut that interview. If you have anyone that you feel like might be motivated by what she was saying, or would like to get the affirmation cards, you can share the link. We'll put that up after the show today. But I really appreciate her coming on. That was cool. Yeah. So there we go. I guess if you're used to watching TFT, thanks for joining us for WTF. We do this show every single Thursday at 2 o'clock. We are actually off her and I are off tomorrow and Friday. So we decided to go ahead and do it today, but there will not be any TFT nor WTF for the rest of the week, but we will be back on TFT in this normal time slot at noon on Monday. But if you like this show and you want to watch or listen, Women Talking Football every Thursday at 2, we also upload it to all the podcast vendors that you could get your Spotify or Apple or whatever other podcast vendors there are that I'm not knowledgeable on.
I only know of 3, and you named all 3 of them, so we're good.
Yeah, so that about covers it. If you get something else, I promise you can probably find it on there too. All right, anything else from you, ma'ams?
No, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Let's do some March Madness. Let's do, we're going on a bachelorette trip. So hasta la vista, baby.
Man, a bachelorette trip with March Madness included in that.
Let's go. And it's so great
because
most all of the girl, or at least the bride that we're going to celebrate is a massive sports fan. Because imagine that we have girlfriends who are also massive sports fans because we're sickos and we can't break the stigma. So I guarantee you we will be at a winery asking them to turn on March Madness at some point.
I would be disappointed if we didn't.
Yes. So we're going to go do a girls thing where we just watch a lot of basketball. So
love it.
See y'all. We'll be back TFT Monday at noon.